People are also going to look at this $15 billion that has to be, well, not has to be spent before the end of the current term of government, but are cognizant that we have this spare amount, and will be wondering how this will drive election strategy. I mean, election strategy, the elections have to be called by 2021. Right. Some people have said it's going to be called earlier. Do you envision this amount to go towards that on that front?
No, I think first and foremost, the budget is a very, as I mentioned earlier on, it's really a strategic plan to allocate resources for Singapore to remain, successful, vibrant in the long run, and to be fair across generation. So it is not about, okay, we are near the election, therefore let's spend this and let's spend that. And as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't mean that next year we're going to spend that 15 billion. That if the economy does much better, and all of us are better, and I collect a lot more taxes, and we, instead of a deficit, that we have a surplus, I think all of us will be very happy, right? Not just me who is collecting more taxes. It must mean that our companies are doing better, our workers are doing better, and people are paying more personal income tax, consumers are spending more, and we're collecting more GST, and that, whether it's property transactions and so on.
What would you say to those people who look at, for example, this year's budget and say, hey, this looks like an election budget?
Well, if they mean that they are very happy with the budget, then I'll say, well, then it's good, But I don't plan on that basis because I think we have a responsibility to our future generation, and that, as I said, it's not possible for one budget to tackle A to Z. It's not possible, right? There will always be more priority. In fact, I have many meetings with the various ministries and various ministers before the budget, and every time I start with a very long list of requests, and I have to cut it down, across, and then we'll decide on what are the priorities, and I discuss with the Prime Minister that what are the priorities that we ought to spend on, and how we need to do this well. So this is the way that we plan our budget, and I must say that let us maintain that. I didn't have to talk about, dealing with climate change. It is a problem that many countries are postponing. But I think for us, it's an important enough challenge, and that the earlier we prepare, the better it is. I don't have to talk about, I don't have to think about doing unpopular policies on workers. But it is really, when you look further down the road, the question is that the path for us to get into, or given that we know that this is not the right path, we should begin to switch now, even though it is harder, but that will land us in a better place in the coming years.